Is there mold in my apartment? Let's talk about the difference between mold and mildew. Mold and mildew can be very common concerns in any apartment, especially in an apartment community. Mold, in my opinion, is a 4-letter word. Well, yeah, it is a 4-letter word. But there is a difference between mold and mildew, and I want to go through that before you get your flamethrower out and want to destroy everything in your apartment, trying to get rid of this ugly thing. So let's talk about what the difference between mold and mildew is. First of all, not all molds are equal, and mildew can look like mold, but it's not mold, okay? So let's just draw the line there so that you understand the difference right now. So let's talk first about mildew. Mildew is, it's flat, and it tends to be gray and powdery. Mildew is kind of like the annoying guest or uninvited annoying guest to your party. It's unsightly, but it's not unhealthy. Mold is 3-dimensional, and it can be black, green, or orange. I will tell you, mold is nefarious for climbing up walls and damaging your health. So you need to know the difference. In our business, a lot of times people mistake mold for mildew, and we want to make sure that you understand the difference, because one is easy to take care of and the other is not, and requires professional services to deal with. Now, where do you tend to find mold and mildew? Well, mold and mildew tend to be found in damp places. What are some damp places you can think of? I bet the first place you thought of was your bathroom, in the shower. It's important to be diligent when you're in your bathroom, especially if you don't have like an outside window to let light in, or you don't use a fan to get the moisture out of your apartment. The kitchen is another place, and actually anywhere where there's water. If you have any water leaks, make sure that you let your apartment community or your provider, like your corporate housing provider, make sure you let them know, because they can take care of things before you end up having to wonder if it's mildew or it's mold. If you're getting a leak from your ceiling, that could become a source for mold or mildew. And so just be mindful that if you've got a leak from the ceiling, you want to get that taken care of, whether or not it's something that you've caused, because it will become your problem if you don't. Yeah, and you can get bonus points if you find something creeping up your shower curtain, because that's another place that mildew can accumulate, simply because we don't tend to wipe those down after we shower. Let's talk about how to handle them, because how to handle them is very different. Mildew is an easy problem to fix. You can create a mixture of bleach and water that you can spray on the mildew, and that will clean it up. You need just a little bit of elbow grease, but a lot of times that's really all it needs to get rid of it. Now, sometimes if the mildew has been there for a while, it might have stained the grout or the caulking. If that's the case, you need to let your property manager know what's going on, or if you're staying in a corporate apartment, you need to let the provider that you're working with know, so that they can get it looked at. And a lot of times, if mildew has not been taken care of by previous tenants and left there, it can stain the grout or the caulking. Now, let's talk about mold. Mold, being a far more serious problem, really requires professional attention. And so if you're living in an apartment and you suspect that it's mold, or honestly, if you're just not sure, what I would recommend is you contact your provider if you're staying with a corporate housing provider, with the owner of the property if you're staying in an Airbnb, or if it's just a plain old apartment where you're not going through anybody else, make sure your property manager knows, so somebody can come take a look and see and determine if it is indeed the kind of mold that will make you sick. If that's the case, then professional services will be brought in to protect you and the apartment. So, the difference between mold and mildew. Mold is 3-dimensional and generally tends to be black, green, and orange, whereas mildew tends to be flat. It can be black, but it also can be gray and powdery in appearance. Where are you supposed to look for this stuff? in the areas that are damp, bathrooms, kitchen, any windows that might be leaking, possibly your ceiling. If you're seeing something in the ceiling, make sure you let your property manager or your provider know about it. Last but not least, how do you take care of it? Mildew is a simple problem, is simple to solve. Use a bleach-based cleaner. You can get a bunch of them at the store, a little bit of elbow grease, and you can get rid of it. Mold needs to be checked out by the property to make sure that it truly is mold. Mildew is often mistaken as mold, and then they will initiate the professional treatment that you need to take care of the problem to protect you and the property. Thank you for joining us today. If you found this information interesting, go ahead and click the subscribe button and then that little bell so that you get notified every time we have content like this that comes up. Have an amazing day. Ciao!